360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories, broadcasting and live streaming to millions of devices around the world, including Roku, and live streaming to Facebook Live. Also on Amazon Fire TV and to Twitch. Also Android TV and Periscope. Broadcasting to Apple TV and YouTube Live. Proudly brought to you by our host, Donna Guinois, producer and host, Michaela Vidal, host and administrator, and Jim Grant, producer and host. Proudly brought to you by the 6minutewebinar.com. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? I'm doing some real busy work here. I'm trying to get a new link over to Dr. George Grant's going to be with us today, and there was a mix-up on the links, and hopefully he'll be with us in just a few minutes. But I wanted to share something with you, if I may. You're in for a treat, this AO scanner. This thing is simply amazing. Now, there were some things that Dr. Grant told me about my body that only I knew. He did not know it. And when he scanned it, he says, "Hey, Jim, you got this problem." Yeah, you got that problem. For example, in my shoulder, I had some inflammation in my shoulder. And it just, really was bothering me. I couldn't hardly move it and all that. But he had no knowledge of it. But that little AO scanner picked it up. And also, too, it was the little AO scanner that actually detected I had a heart problem. And we're going to get into that just a little bit. But first of all, I want to welcome you to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We're so glad that you're here. Sorry for the little mix up there with Dr. Grant, but he'll be on shortly. And most importantly, we want to give a shout out to Donna Guinois. Donna, we know that you're getting better, but you're still a little under the weather. So we're thinking about you. We've been praying for you. And I've been consistently drinking tea for you. So we're just so, you're in our heart and you're in our thoughts and our prayers and all that. And let me let him communicate with him that I did send the link over there. And, oh, okay. All right. He'll be with us in a few minutes. And we're just really working on everything. But the AO scanner, it was the only thing that red flagged my heart. This was about 2 months before I had my heart attack. Now, the little thing, it measures frequencies, and you're either in the green and it says in, or it's red and you're out. That little scanner, it showed my heart to be out when it comes to the elasticity. And I'm trying to think of the other word that it showed, but it did red flag my heart. And Dr. Grant, he kind of like got on me a little bit, says, "Jim, I told you about that." And I said, "Yeah, I know." And, my thinking was at the time, my blood pressure was good. My cholesterol levels were always good. I mean, my blood pressure is like 120 something over 68 to 78, something like that. In 2019, my bad cholesterol was only at 76. And from there, I'm just going to check something here. So I'll keep talking. From there, it basically, I didn't think I had too much of a problem there, And okay. Let's see here. Okay. Waiting for you. Can you see me? All right. Let's see here. I don't know what link he's clicking on, but no, I can't see him. And I'm going to try it right here, ladies and gentlemen. So just bear with us. These little technical difficulties are kind of aggravating. And But anyway, my cholesterol levels were good. My blood pressure was good. So I figured my heart's got to be good. And it's just amazing how all that really, came into play. And trying to say, I just copied that right from the live show that he says he's clicking on the link and it's not working. So anyway, we got some technical difficulties there. And but anyway, Dr. George Grant will be with us shortly, and I'm just really hopeful that he can get in there real quickly. But let me go ahead and finish a little bit on my story, if I may. I didn't realize that I had the widowmaker condition in my heart. And I think that's what that little AO scanner was, signifying, because when I landed in the hospital, I had a heart attack this past Halloween night. There he is. I see him there. I see him there. I'm waving to him. He's smiling. I think he's wiping sweat, but we're glad that he's here. But anyway, when I landed in the hospital that night, Friday night, on Halloween night, number one, I didn't know I was having a heart attack. I just had, pressure in my chest. And that's why it's important for you to get it up and get it in gear and get to the ER if you have a problem, because then they can give you some aspirins and some nitroglycerin under your tongue, and that opened up everything. And that's what decreased the heart attack and did not allow it to get any worse, because, as I said earlier, my blood pressure is like 120 over 68 to 78. When I got to the ER that night, it was 190 over 111. Now, I don't want to sound dramatic, but there's no question about that. I'm in a serious situation there. It could go worse, one way or another. And I see who else is with us here. I see Dr. George Grant twice. Oh my goodness. Well, the real Dr. George Grant, please stand up. Let's see. Let me add him to the screen. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
We got a little bit of feedback there. Are you using an external speaker?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good now. Yeah, that's good. And so I was telling them about when I landed in the ER, the blood pressure being 190 over 111. That's why it's important for you to get there as quickly as you can, because then when you're in a situation like that, you've got to take care of business. With the aspirins and the nitroglycerin and the IVs they had in me, that dissipated me from having a mild heart attack into no heart attack. I was just now in a monitoring mode. But my point being, if I'd had waited till morning, I could have damaged the muscles of my heart. So in addition to having the original problem that I had, the widowmaker and the blockages and all that Dr. Grant warned me about, okay, I could have very easily have damaged the ability of my heart to contract and pump fully. So why complicate things? Because if you wait with chest pains and stuff like that, you're doing three things. Number one, you're gambling with your heart. Number two, you're going to suffer heart damage. I'm not trying to be critical. I'm not trying to be scary or anything like that. I'm just telling you the way the cow eats the cabbage. And number three, you will always lose. So your heart loves you, and you make sure you love your heart. And Dr. Grant, now we're brothers by different mothers, and he got all the good looks and the brains, and I got I got what? The personality, I think you said that I got.
And a good sense of humor.
Yeah, lack of sense, really. Oh my goodness. We're so glad that you're here. And if you'd be so kind, I know you've been on the show many, many times. We got a lot of new viewers out there. You are a professor. You got 3 doctor's degree. Just share a little bit about your background, who you are. Just take a couple of minutes, if you would, sir.
Well, for your viewers who have not seen me before, if they wanted to know everything about me, but they were afraid to ask, they can go to my website, academyofwellness.com, and all my bio is there. I don't want to bother them with like 10 minutes or 15 minutes of my 40 plus years experience in this field. I specialize in integrative medicine, functional medicine, lifestyle medicine. I help my clients to recover from, as Jim was talking about, clog the arteries, and we
Mhm.
warn them before it even happened, so we can
Yeah.
detect the problem before it happens, and then we
Mhm.
can warn them and we can correct it. So just
One mhm, go
yeah, go
ahead.
ahead.
One mistake that I made, and I imagine a lot of people make this mistake, I had that false security, that safety net, as
Yes,
I call it.
yes,
And this was my thinking, ladies and gentlemen, and I paid the price for it too. So therefore, when you make a mistake, you own it and you go on. I'm thinking, well, my blood pressure's good. My cholesterol levels were good. Even in the hospital with all the problems I had, my bad cholesterol was at 96. Now, the
mhm,
medical doctors will tell you, hey, you should be in great shape. You shouldn't be having any problems at all. You should be whistling, skipping down the street. But I was in a hospital with two IVs in my arm, one in each arm, one blood thinner and one the saline position or solution. And my point being is that when you're in a situation like that and you pay the price on it, because I also thought, Dr. Grant had worked with me and I had done some changes in my life. I'd gone on some good vitamins, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But this was a stinking of my thinking. You didn't get in this situation overnight, and you're not going to get out of it overnight. And there's some validity in that. But you can't keep going down the same street if it's a dead end street. And that was
yes,
a mistake that I made. So therefore, I own it. And plus the fact, this was an interesting thing. I did not know. I got to tell the story here, if I may, just for a second. I'm laying at home. Now, picture this. I got an 8-inch incision in my chest. They have pulled me open. They've done the work. They put everything back together and they glue me shut. And I tell the joke, the reason why they glued me shut, the Band-Aid truck did not show up. But most importantly, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, why did this happen to me? Because right now I'm in the same boat as a guy that's been smoking a pack of cigarettes a day
yeah,
for 20 years.
yeah,
And I haven't smoked since 1975.
yeah,
Goodness, what's the deal here, And it's easy for you to feel sorry for yourself at a time like that. Perfectly normal, perfectly natural, perfectly human, but it's also the wrong place for you to stay.
yeah,
Fortunately for me, my next door neighbors and he's a retired IM doctor, and he says, Jim, most of the people who show up in an ER with heart problems like you did, about 75% of them. Now, this is a study made in 2009 from the University of California. It was published. Almost 75% of the patients are just like me. They had good blood pressure. They didn't have any warning signs as far as high cholesterol or anything like that. And some medical doctors will disagree with you on that statement, but there's one thing that they're not considering. When you wind up in the ER with a heart attack like I did, they don't call the medical doctor, they call the cardiologist.
yes, yes,
And so, I want to get into the AO scanner. I just want to give some background of I've got skin in the game. Dr. Grant has got skin in the game when it comes to your health because he lost his mother and his father at a young age. I think it was 18 when he lost his. I said, you'd already lost. Did you lose your dad first or your mom?
My mom first. I was 18 and she was 41.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So and when he lost his parents, he had no siblings, no family. He was basically an orphan.
yeah,
So therefore, both of us have skin in the game here. We know a little bit about what we're talking about,
yes,
and we both have paid the price. So we're not here to sell you anything.
mhm,
Make that very, very clear. We're here to educate you, to help you make the right decision for you. Because if you're living in fear, it's best to be proactive rather than reactive because
yeah,
fear will enslave you
yes,
and it'll put you over there in the hospital with me, with the
yes,
IVs and stuff.
yes.
But
You
how
see,
did
Jim,
go ahead?
sometimes people do not understand this. The first sign of heart attack is sudden death. It's like it's a like any scientist can tell you this. Any physician, cardiologist can tell you this. The first sign of heart attack in some people is sudden death. There is no
Mhm.
pre-warning signals because when the arteries are clogging, you do not get any
Right.
feeling. When the LDL cholesterol gets oxidized and clog the arteries, and when I actually scanned you before, using the device, which is called the AO mobile scan. And I told you, I got to watch your left ventricle. There is getting some clogging. It's you said my cholesterol is fine, my blood pressure is fine. What are you talking about? So that was back. I think it was before Halloween. I
Yeah, it
believe
was about 2 months
early
before.
October. It was early October. Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
And you did not actually take this very seriously. And then I told you to cut back on dairy, fried food, the bread,
And I
and
did.
the rice and the sugar, and do the wellness IQ at the academyofwellness.com. At that time, you ignored me. You did not do the wellness IQ. Okay, you did not do it. You did not do your homework. So I advise all of your listeners and viewer now, if they listening to us now, please, heart attack, open heart surgery, widowmaker can be prevented, and it can be reversed naturally.
Yes.
Like how it helped, Jim to do. Here's an evidence of this. Here's the guy that I saw in 1998. He was taking 28 meds. He'd done 2 bypass. He's done 2 stents, and he had 99% clogged arteries. He was 79 years, and they sent him to hospice to die because they said, we cannot give you any more meds. We cannot do any more medications. We cannot do any more like stents or bypass or surgery, because he would die in the operating table. So one of my co-authors said, can you do anything to change his lifestyle? Because he's not drinking water, he's eating the wrong food at the wrong time, and so on. So I did. I spent with him 1.5 hours, did the scan for him, and 9 months later, no meds, no bypass, no stents. In 1999, 50% opening in his arteries, changed his diet, he's drinking the water. Unlike Jim, he was listening to me for 9 months. But now, actually, Jim is listening to me because what he experienced in open heart surgery make him actually listen to me now. Okay. By the way, Jim, this guy is still alive today at 101.
Oh,
and he
yeah.
was dead in 1998, dead in hospice. He was like literally dead. They given up on him. Did not do. Now, I'm not saying that I'm a miracle worker. I'm not saying I'm better than any cardiologist. All I did, Jim, is follow the IMFMLM, the integrative medicine, functional medicine, lifestyle medicine. And if your viewer wanted to see this, they can go to the website, academyofwellness.com, complete the wellness IQ. It's simply 10 questions.
Yeah.
Because when I asked you to do this, Jim, after the open heart surgery, you did it, and your wellness IQ score now is improving dramatically. Correct, Jim? It's improving.
Yeah. Because once you told me initially about getting off of fried foods and cheese, because I'm part rat. I love cheese. But,
I know.
sometimes you got to give up something that you love because it may love you back too much. You know what I mean?
They bite you.
That's what happened to me.
Yes.
And let's see, the beauty in that, folks, is that whenever you make a mistake, own it, forgive yourself, and drive on, because then the information that I've found out, and of course, now I've got skin in the game, there's a lot of people out there that I can help, not only, to educate them about the heart problem, but also to find a solution that can help them change their lifestyle and improve their health. Because being proactive is much better than being reactive.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. To be proactive, not reactive, to follow prevention, not intervention. Nobody want to go through what Jim went through during Halloween day and having an open heart surgery. This can be prevented, but now it's done. We wanted to prevent this from happening again. This is so important because, by the way, people who had heart attack, they get a second one within 6 months to 1 year. They get a second one if they don't change the lifestyle. And it's a fact. Nobody can argue with this fact. Not a single physician, cardiologist, or scientist like myself can argue that this thing can reoccur if you do not change your lifestyle. This is simple. It's a really simple task. Go academyofwellness.com, complete the wellness IQ. If your score is below 50, you know that you've got something to work on. And then you connect with me and do what I've done for Jim here, this virtual scan. You don't have to be here in Toronto to do this. I can do it virtually anywhere in the world. And we just mention Jim Grant or mention that TV interview, you get half the price. And instead of $250 we charge, you only pay half price. And in fact, I'm going to give a very good incentive today, Jim. It is not even half of the $250. We'll make it only $95. Now, for $95, if they're not 100% satisfied, they don't have to pay me anything. And that will show them not just the heart, head to toe.
Now that $95, now what you're going to get an 85-page report. And Dr.
Yeah.
Grant is going to spend probably a good hour and 15 minutes with you. So, I mean, you're really getting a lot of bang for your buck there.
It's
Now,
1 hour scan.
1 hour scan. Okay. Now, there's one thing I want to point out that's very important. When I landed in the hospital on that Friday night, and they transferred me to the College Station, over in College Station Hospital, it's Baylor Scott and White. And they're saying, hey, I came in Saturday morning, cardiologist, and says, we're going to schedule you for Monday because we can't get to you till Monday because we could, that's when we're going to have you set up for the stents.
Mm-hmm.
They thought that putting stents in there would solve my problem because they did a total of 67 tests during that weekend, and not a single one of them detected the widowmaker or how serious my blockages were. The only way it raised its ugly head is when I go in for the catheterization, and they put the dye in there at the x-rays, and then boom, there it is in living color.
And we detected this, Jim, and AO mobile scan in the left ventricle. There was some clogging there, and that's what they found, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
see, by the way, Jim, I'm gonna be in San Antonio, Texas from February 3rd to 5th. If somebody want to see me in person, you just email me and I'll tell them where I'm gonna be in San Antonio, Texas, because I know Texas is big, but they can come and see me there in person.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna get down there and see you because I'm about 2.5 hours away from San Antonio.
Okay, all right.
And my point being is that now let me say this: I'm not knocking the doctors.
No,
or
we're
the
not.
medical industry at all. It's just that that's all the technology they had.
Yes.
And I was very, very fortunate. I was very, very blessed because we've all heard, in fact, just a week ago, we don't know what the deal is, but there was a guy who's a friend of mine that I knew, 20 something years ago. He's still friends, but he was like me, healthy, no medication, walking down the street, dropped dead of a heart attack.
That's exactly what I'm telling you.
Chances are that it's compliments of the widowmaker. Why do they call it the widowmaker? I mean, think about that. I mean, this is not overly hard, and heart disease is the #1 killer in the United States. And so this is why we want to bring this to your attention. And the AO scanner, how long has that thing been around? Give us some background on that, if you would, sir.
It's actually been around for 15 years, but it was in a desktop, very complex desktop computer. And now they make it very healthy, it's easy, like mobile, like this, or like an iPad, the size of an iPad. So you can get it in this size, or you can get an iPad. And that was only around for about 2 years now. Very, very, very recent. And I introduced so many doctors to use it, so many scientists like myself to use it. And they are fascinated with the accuracy. This tool is actually not for diagnostic; it's only for education purpose only.
Right.
To give you an idea what's going on from head to toe. It will actually test the voice, vitals, and a comprehensive scan in your body, head to toe. So you get about 10, 15 pages long from the voice report. You get 55 pages from the vitals report and 88 pages from the comprehensive report. And this takes a whole 60 minutes. I've done this with Jim, and he was so fascinated. Unfortunately, he did not take me seriously in the early October last year. And now he's taking this seriously. And I'm helping every client he referred to me with this, and they find it to be fascinating. And we're on a conference call yesterday, and lots of my students were there on the conference call, and they swear by this device. And they just they're so amazed how many people they helped to prevent the disease, to prevent heart attack, to prevent clogging of the arteries by following a proper lifestyle. So it's all in their hands right now, Jim. They can just go to academyofwellness.com, complete the Wellness IQ. It's free, 10 questions, okay? And then they email me to book up. Just go to Academy of Wellness, the whole link there to book the session there. If you want to see me in San Antonio next week, February 3 to 5, just email me, and I'm going to be seeing lots of clients. I'm attending a medical conference there. So I'm happy to see you at your convenient time in person.
Okay, that sounds good. And we want to give a shout out again to our lady here that works with us, producer and host, works with me, is Donna Guinois. Donna's homesick, and Donna, I know that you may be tuned in watching, and we're so glad to have you watch us. And I think Donna watches us to make sure I behave myself, but we miss you and we love you. And Dr. Grant, you also did a AO scan on Donna and opened her eyes to some things, didn't you?
Yes, and it did
Yeah.
actually show compromise the immune system. If Donna remember that, and I
Mhm.
advise her to take extra vitamin D up to 10,000
Right.
IU per day, and take
Yeah.
extra vitamin C from 4,000 milligrams per day, and
Mhm.
zinc 80 milligrams per day to boost the immune system.
Mhm.
I'm sure Donna remember that, and I'm sure she
Mhm.
actually done it, because
Oh,
even if
yeah.
she had any virus or any COVID, very easy to reverse that by following those advice, because you need to boost the immune system and you
Mhm.
need to follow that. So yes,
Mhm.
I wish her the fastest recovery. She's a very nice person, and
Oh, yeah.
I wish she can just use that advice. And she
Yeah.
has that. By the way, this advice on my website, academyofwellness.com, and it says on January 20th, 2020, recommendations from former Health Canada, FDA, CDC, which is me. I worked for
Mhm.
Health Canada, FDA, and CDC for 10 years. Here's my recommendations for COVID-19 to prevent it.
Mm.
10,000 IU vitamin D3,
Mhm.
5,000 milligrams of vitamin C, 80 milligrams of zinc daily to boost the
Mhm.
immune system. And by the way, I did not have any papers to publish at that time or to validate what I just said. That was just based on 40 years plus experience. You know,
Mhm.
Jim, last week I looked up the internet. There was more than 5,000 papers published to validate what I said back 2 years ago.
Mm.
It was 4,000 paper published to show that vitamin D can actually help the body to prevent and to reverse the symptoms of COVID-19, and so is vitamin C, and so is zinc, and so is vitamin A. So people have to really look at this free website,
Mhm.
academyofwellness.com. Look at the blogs. By the way, I do
Mhm.
have 375 blogs there. 375. So if
Mm.
every person read one blog a day, they finish the whole website, the whole blogs in 1 year.
That's really amazing. And you've been a proponent of vitamin D. Let's take that
Yes,
for
yes,
the from the
100%.
beginning.
Yes,
You've been a proponent of that, and you've actually had medical doctors that were not aware of the
yes,
advantages of that much vitamin D, and they've actually said, "Hey, why are you recommending such high levels
yes,
of vitamin D?" And
yes,
then you send them to the research,
yes.
and they do the research. Then they come back, and what do they say to you?
Well, they recommend only 800 IU to 1000 IU. That's what they've been taught in the medical school.
Mhm,
Unfortunately, I'm a toxicologist, I'm a pharmacologist. I've earned, as you said in the introduction, 3 doctorate degrees. So
mhm,
I found from my research that between 5,000 and 10,000 IU, this is a therapeutic value for vitamin D3, the
mhm,
sunshine vitamin, especially if you live in the north and you don't get enough sunshine, because
mm.
all of us need vitamin D, for not just for the diabetes and depression, and for dementia, and for the heart and the bones and the teeth and the brain. We need this for our gut health. We need vitamin D for gut health, and gut health is brain health, is heart health. That's what we call it, functional medicine. Gut health is everything health. Okay, so
Mhm,
when I actually recommended to one of my clients 10,000, they went to their physician and they said, "This Dr. Grant, the scientist, recommended 10,000." He called me and said, "Why are you recommending toxic dose? This vitamin D is fat soluble." I said, "I'm aware of that, but the toxicity of vitamin D does not happen until you reach about 25,000 up to 250,000. Somebody actually tried 250,000 a day for 2 years and he did not die. And he continued to take that. I'm not recommending 100,000 or 20,000. I only recommend between 8 to 10,000 per day. So I told him
mhm,
to go to vitamindcouncil.org. This is the official government website to study research published from every scientist in the world about vitamin D3. And he went to see it. He called me back. He said, "Dr. Grant, I apologize. I did not know that you're a toxicologist." And he published
mhm,
250 papers. And I found that 10,000 IU, it's not toxic dose, it's a safe dose. And
mhm,
based on your recommendations, I'm going to start to take personally between 8 to 10,000. I'm going to recommend to all my uh, patients this dosage now, since I learned this
mm.
new. So you know what? Knowledge is power.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
to do what you know is more powerful. It's not just
Oh, yeah.
because every smoker know that smoking is bad for them. They know that. But to do what you know is really the hardest thing to do in the world. So I'm sure, Jim, I don't need to convince you anymore to go and get vitamin D3 now between 8 to
Mm.
10,000,
Mhm.
because it's very important for the heart and for the pancreas, for the sugar, for the liver,
Yeah.
for the gallbladder, for the
Mhm.
bones, for the teeth, for the gut, and for the brain. In fact,
Yeah.
we had the research done that vitamin D can reverse dementia.
Mm.
Published research. So if you
Would
if you
you
have
would you
dementia,
say that again, sir?
vitamin D3, 10,000 IU per day, can reverse dementia. And we have a published paper in scientific literature to prove that. We have this, okay? We have this paper. So,
Wow.
and by the way, I was the first scientist in the world to indicate that dementia is only type 3 diabetes. And that was done 20 years ago in one of the medical conferences that I attended. And now every scientist say that, yes, type 3 diabetes is actually referred to dementia. People who have diabetes type 2, they go on to type 3 and they have not just high blood sugar and they develop dementia. So it's all preventable if you know how. If you go to the website, academicfullness.com, you see the published paper there in scientific literature in a medical journal called Acta Scientific. It's right there in front of their eyes.
And if someone wants to get in touch with you, they can just get in touch with you here at drgrantwellness@gmail.com. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, they can book an appointment to see me virtually or in person in San Antonio, Texas, February 3 to 5. And I'll be booked solid. So I would recommend you book this as soon as possible. Okay.
Someone that is suffering from, or they have a family member that's suffering from, not dementia, but Alzheimer's.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, the signs of type 3 diabetes start with amnesia. You forget a few things. Some people put their keys in the freezer and they don't. Why would I put the key in the freezer? Like, there's no point. But they start to have amnesia at age 60 or 70, like me and you. So if you have good cognitive function, that means you have good vitamin D and you have good antioxidants in your body to prevent the amyloid plaque that start to form in the brain that can cause amnesia, dementia, and eventually Alzheimer. And this is something so important because we've done extremely extensive research on this topic. And there's something called brain-derived neurotransmitters, BDNF factors. And these things can be actually reduced by vitamin D3 and all of the other antioxidants, vitamin A and vitamin C and so on. And also we have found that something called thermotherapy, heat therapy, and vibration therapy can actually increase blood flow to the brain and prevent and reverse dementia. Like, anything is reversible, anything is preventable. We have to know how. That is the key here. That is the message I'm telling you. So Widowmaker is preventable. Heart attack is preventable. And yes, heart attack, clogged arteries can be reversed. Even if it's 99%, even if the person is 79, had 28 meds and 2 bypass and 2 stents, yes, it can be reversed in 9 months. Okay, well, I'm not a physician. I'm not prescribed. I do not do any surgery, but we do care, we do serve, and we do educate. We do not medicate. We do not operate. We do not do any of this stuff. We all follow holistic health, natural health. I'm a specialist in IM, FMLM, integrative medicine, functional medicine, lifestyle medicine. It's all at the academyofwellness.com.
Oh, yeah. It's really amazing because, the gut health and the heart health and the brain health, those three work together in perfect harmony.
Yes.
If one of them's out of balance, especially the gut, the rest of it is toast.
The rest will be out of balance. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally out of balance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're going to be thanks to you and thanks to my heart attack and all those wonderful things. See, out of every, whenever something happens, there's always a seed of a greater benefit. And I've been invited, and I'm part of. I think there's 12 authors in that book that's going to be coming out. Is that correct?
Yes. In fact, that book coming by Austin is amazing, and we could participate in other books before called Turning Point. And these are the scientists there. And then actually I was one of them. And we spoke to 2.2 million viewers, 2.2 million viewers on this Turning Point conference in the year 2020, the 2020 conference. 2.2. Can you imagine, Jim? Like, when he told me at age 18, I'm going to be speaking in the year 2020 to 2.2 million people virtually from 100 countries, I said, give me a break. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, don't tell me that. You might scare me to death at 18.
So, and the upcoming conference, by the way, in the year 2022 in October, we're going to be doing the same. I'm going to invite you at my speaking slot to speak now to over 2.5 million people this October 2022 conference. And then you and you're going to share your wonderful testimonial, your wonderful story, because this will inspire so many people, Jim. So many people who are on the fence about this, waiting for bypass or waiting for taking medications and beta blockers and high blood pressure medications and diabetes medications. They'll be inspired by your story. So you get ready and get set. In October 2022, we're going to be speaking together to 2.2, 2.3 million people there in our international conference.
Okay. Thank you very much for that opportunity. And the thing is too, folks, when I found out about the information, about 75% of the people are just like me, in good health and no problems, wind up in the ER with heart problems. I could have done one or two things. I could have said, wow, that's really interesting, huh? But then I realized that that was a calling for me to take my experience, because people can relate to me now. I'm not
Yes.
talking about theory. I'm talking about reality, because I like to tell this story. Now, I've been in the hospital Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, So Monday morning, Dr. I'm trying to think of his name right now. Carson comes in, I believe his first name is, and he was telling me, he said, yeah, he says, you're going to go in for the catheterization. And he says, you're going to be home this afternoon. You're going to be feeling good, yada, yada, yada. So now I'm in an outpatient mode, and I'm in a good mode. I'm in a happy mode, because they were, those folks are so nice that when they came in and draw blood out of the back of your hands every 6 hours, if you're asleep, they'll wake you up.
Yeah.
That's too much fun for you to miss. Of course, they do that for safety reasons, but you can understand when I'm going in there, they're going to put the catheterization in there, and they're going to put the stents in there, and I'm going to be released that afternoon. I'm going to have good blood flow. I'm going to feel great, yada, 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 yada. And that's when everything went south. And Dr. Gray, my cardiologist, he's a great doctor, and I really like his personality and all. He's a wonderful man. And he says, I'm sorry, this procedure will not work for you. He says, you need open heart surgery. Mm-hmm. You need bypasses. You need it today. We cannot put this off. And so at that point, people have asked me, how do I feel? Well, I've always been a person that just accepts reality. And I'm looking at the facts. And I just said to myself, I said, Lord, it's in your hands. Yes. If the surgery goes well, I'll go home. If it doesn't go well, I'll still go home. So I didn't. 25 years ago, my prayer would have been a prayer of petition.
Yes.
I would have been begging like a beggar at a rich man's gate. Please this, please that, please the other. I'll take anything,
Yeah, that's right.
But when I said that, right afterwards, immediately a peace and a calmness came over me.
That's
and
good.
Two things. I knew instantly that the operation would go well, and I knew my recovery would go well, because I was operated on for open heart surgery November the 1st, just 2.5 months ago.
Yeah.
And been doing very well.
You're doing very well, and you're looking very well. You're looking very healthy. I'm so proud of you, Jim. And your story is very inspiring, very inspiring. I mean, if somebody does not get inspired by this story, and they still follow their old habits of eating, drinking, and they don't know what the heck they're eating, and they don't know what's eating them for stress, and they don't know what they don't eat, you should go right now. Go to academyofwellness.com, click on Wellness IQ. It's free, 10 questions, and then drink your water, do the exercise that we recommend there, have 35 minutes every single day walking, and do all of this stuff, and then you're going to be healthy like Jim here. Okay, so it's really simple situations,
Oh, yeah. Because now when I go out walking, I've got energy and I feel like moving. And, because carbohydrate, sugar, and all that just drags you down. It just, it gives you a cheap thrill, as I call it. But then, you turn into a chocoholic. There is such a thing as being a chocoholic, and you crave it. And even in the hospital there, ladies and gentlemen, I had a lot of people praying for me.
Yeah.
I'm talking hundreds of people praying for me. Okay.
Yes.
And so that is why that I felt the peace and the calmness. And that is why that I knew instantaneously, that the way things were going to work out. So they got me up to walk the next day. Yes, and I walked down the hallway and all that. And the only reason why we stopped, because the doors were, shut. And the guy said, well, he says, let's turn right here and go back. Okay. And I passed the nurse's station on the way back, and the nurse's station talked about, hey, you're doing very well. You're walking exceptionally good, because I'm 73 years of age.
Yes.
And that was one thing I heard all the way through, was how good I was walking.
Yes.
And every time that a nurse would walk into my room, first question out of their mouth is that, are you in any pain? No, I'm not in any pain.
Excellent.
And that is the power of the prayer. And then I got a sense of humor. So I was joking around with one of the nurses. She says, we're just really amazed. She says, we know you're going to go home. We're glad you're going home, but we're going to miss you because you're our kind of patient because you got a wonderful sense of humor. And
Yes.
plus, I tried to remember to thank a nurse every time they came in my room, even if they're going to take my blood pressure or whatever. Thank you for
Yes.
stopping by,
Yes.
And I'd say
That's good.
something like, hey, thanks
I
for
know
coming
you
by.
have this you got this gratitude, which is the best
Yeah.
thing about you, Jim, which is great.
Yeah.
Also, you have a healthy weight because I deal with clients who have severe like weight problem. You can see this guy here.
Oh, yeah.
He had a challenge with his weight, diabetes. By the way, diabetes and obesity, I call it diabesity. It's number
Hmm.
one pandemic in this world we have today.
Oh, yeah.
It's on the increase, and that lead to
Oh, yeah.
hypertension, lead to heart disease, lead to clogged arteries, the
Oh, yeah.
widowmaker, and so on, and lead to heart attack. So
Yeah.
this is all can be prevented. It can be reversed. It can be
Yeah.
reversed.
Yeah.
Anything can be reversed, Jim. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that you kept your weight very healthy here,
Yeah.
under 175 pounds or so.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm 168.5.
well, exactly. So this is bonus. This is a bonus
Mhm.
because if you're 250 or this guy here, like 500 pounds, okay,
Yeah. Boob Jones. Yeah.
like then the recovery is going to take longer. You see, this is why IMFMLM does work. You got to combine
Right.
all of them together. I'm not the only scientist who actually, say that. My friends and my colleagues at Cleveland Clinic, they always focus on gut health first, functional medicine before allopathic medicine, before
Mhm.
even integrative medicine, and before even lifestyle medicine. So
Mhm.
their premise now is functional medicine. That's what they
Mhm.
do before they do any medication or prescription or surgery. So
Yeah.
I think this is the way the world is going right now. This is where
Mhm.
we need to focus on prevention, not intervention.
Yeah.
Self-care, better than crisis care.
Yeah. And you mentioned, about the food and all that, because I remember growing up, seeing a fat kid in school, and please forgive me, I'm not trying to be facetious or anything, but seeing a fat kid in school was kind of a rare thing.
Yes.
And you never heard, I never heard of a kid dropping dead from a heart
Yeah.
attack on a football
But
field in high
now
school.
it's a different story.
Yeah. And
We have fat teenagers now. And
yeah,
by
I
the way,
know.
it's not just across the US. It's not just across Texas because Texas is
Mhm.
big and everything is actually there's lots of high obesity in Texas than any other state in the USA. You know that, right?
Mhm. Right, right.
Okay. So why all of a sudden in your school years there was
Mhm.
no obesity and now we have problem with fat teenagers and fat kids in the school? Look what they serve for kids luncheon. Look what they serve for the lunch. Look
Mm.
how many sodas they drink. Look, like,
Mm.
look at all of the fast food, the fried food, the
Mm.
processed food, and the cereals, French fries, ice cream.
Yeah.
All of this stuff can cause problems, Jim. And
Oh,
you and
yeah.
I are on a mission here to educate the parents and their children to eat right.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
To eat
exactly
right.
right. Because, ladies and gentlemen, even your pets are
Yes,
suffering health issues.
yes, yes,
I mean, look at life expectancy of dogs now. I mean, it's really had a
yes,
sharp decrease, you
yeah,
know. And of course, I'm an animal lover, like a lot of you folks out there. And losing a dog is just like losing a kid because they're
yes,
very special to you. That unconditional love,
yes,
that's irreplaceable,
exactly,
and it
exactly.
hurts. It
Yeah,
stabs you like a knife. It
yeah,
really does.
exactly,
But
exactly.
their food is being altered.
Yes,
And,
highly processed. And if
yeah.
they give them food from home, from the leftovers, which is processed, high in fat, high in trans fats, high in triglyceride, high in carbohydrate, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have a fatty pet, a fatty dog, and a
Mhm.
fatty cat,
With
and they're
with
going to
uh,
get
with
sick
health issues. Yeah.
with health issues. Exactly. And no
Yeah.
veterinarian can solve their problem. It has to start with lifestyle. It has to
Yes.
start with common sense. So yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I'm on the
'Cause
same mission like you, Jim. Let's educate the
yeah,
masses here, and I hope
yeah.
they would listen. I hope they would
Mhm.
apply what we
Sure.
teach them. I hope they
Well,
would come and book an
mhm,
appointment to see me to this
mhm.
1 hour virtual scan, and it's all at the academyofwellness.com. And please do that. Take advantage of this special
Oh,
discount,
yeah.
$95, and mention Jim Grant.
Mhm.
Just say Uncle Jim, and they'll understand what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, since I'm older than he is. But, yeah, it's really amazing because when you think about, your body is a processing center.
It is.
It's not a recycling center.
It is, and it's the most healing, machine in the world. It's
Oh,
actually, it has
gosh.
self-healing capacity, but you've got to feed it
Oh,
the right fuel.
oh,
Let me
yeah.
ask you a question, Jim. What happened tomorrow if we have a gasoline crisis, and then instead of adding gasoline to your car, you just add water? Would the car
Mm.
run?
No,
Okay, then how do
absolutely
you
not.
expect your body to run on soda and all of the cereals and all of the KFC and French fries and all of the crap that we're eating? How can we
Yeah.
expect this engine to run? And like, our body has the healing capacity to prevent disease, but up to certain
Hmm.
limits. You push
Hmm.
those limits, then you get a problem.
Yeah. Because if
You
you're
want to talk
putting,
about that?
bad stuff in your body, like I said, it's not a recycling center, and
Yeah.
your body is amazing because,
Yes.
uh, like the veins that they harvested from my left leg,
Yes.
those veins will automatically regrow.
Yeah. Yes.
Because I asked, and I also asked the doctors this. This was a valid question. I said, was there a test that I should have asked to have run on me that would detect that I had the widowmaker or I had all these blockages? And the answer was no.
No.
And I'm not faulting the doctors or the medical science, just that they're not there yet.
We've done it here.
Yeah, they've come a long way
Yeah.
and they've done a lot of good things, but they're not there yet. And it's Dr. Grant and I, we're just encouraging to,
Yeah.
explore and open your mind. And
Yes.
I tell people, you know, uh, when it comes to diets and stuff like that, find something that works for you.
Yeah.
One diet may work for this person, may not work for that person. It may work for 10 people and not work for 100. That's okay. But find something that works for you.
Yeah.
And I used to have, I never was much of a lettuce eater or greens eater, but now you put apple in there and you put walnuts in there and you put some healthy goodies in there to give it some flavor. And what I noticed was that after I eat that for lunch, I don't feel bogged down like I need a nap. I've got
Yes.
energy. I want to get up and go.
Yes.
And that's important because feeling good is something that we all want.
Exactly. But what now if you eat the junk food? How would you feel 1 hour after? You want to take a nap, you feel
Yeah.
groggy, and you feel tired, and then you have brain
Mhm.
fog, and then you
Yeah.
wonder, I need another, maybe something sweet, and then you crave sweets, and then you eat more
Mhm.
sweets, you end up with diabetes, and you end up with high
Oh,
blood
yeah.
pressure, and then
Yeah.
you end up with heart attack. You
Mhm.
are what you eat, you are what you do not eat, and you are what's eating you.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
are
Mhm.
what you also think. You are what you
Mhm.
think. You are what you
Oh,
believe.
yeah.
We have to change all of that, Jim. We have to make
Mhm.
people actually see what you and I see here.
Oh, yeah. It's extremely important because when it comes to your health, you're entitled to live healthy, just like
Yes.
you're entitled to love and be loved. You're entitled to live in the abundance of this universe because everything is a vibration. The
Yeah.
universe is expanding. We're a vibration. That's what that little AO scanner is about. It picks up your vibrations and
Yes.
see if you're in perfect harmony or
Yes.
if you're out of balance. And if you're out of balance, you can take that educational tool, you
Hmm.
can take it to a specialist in the area of your concern and say, hey, let's take a look at this. And
Yes.
then, and then the beauty of it is, 90 days, 120 days later, 6 months, whatever, you can go back and be retested and see if you've made the right decision.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
Correct. And
Mhm.
despite the fact that you've been through a lot, open heart surgery and all of the stuff, I predict, Jim, today that you're going to be living till 111 and even beyond that, even though
Yeah.
you had all of this problem, because now you're following everything that
Mhm.
is healthy guidelines to help you to
Mhm.
live, to become centurions, because
Mhm.
the life insurance tables say that you're supposed to be dead by 75, 80. You know what? Even despite all my bad genes, I'm praying
Mhm.
that if God give me the years to live till centurion, I want to help more people to live the healthy lifestyle like you,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then prevent this early death. This is really what it's all about. Prevention
Oh, yeah.
is better than intervention.
Mhm.
Self-care is better than crisis care. And nobody will argue with this fact. And not even a single physician or cardiologist will argue with that, because they themselves have to follow this rule, even though they are cardiologists. You know what? They have to follow the same rule like you and I are following right now. Am I
Mhm.
correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How many
Absolutely.
cardiologists do you know who had heart attack? Lots of
Oh
them.
yeah. Oh yeah. And it's kind of interesting because on a previous show you talked about people, especially guys. Listen to this, guys. I'm talking to you menfolk out there, and especially to Bubba and Einstein. Pay close attention to this. Dr. Grant was talking about living to 111 and still have an active sex life.
Yes.
Because I know Bubba and Einstein are sitting there thinking, and they're probably thinking, "Well, you think we'll remember what we're supposed to do?" If you can perform, you'll be able to figure it
Yes.
out. You'll be able to
Yes.
figure it out. How
Yes,
about
sir.
that?
It's all about blood
But
flow. It's all
yeah,
about blood flow.
because we've
No
been
age.
kind of we've been kind of dumbed down about stuff, and
Yes, that's correct.
we really have, and misinformed or uninformed.
Yes.
And if you're informed, you'll always be free.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yes.
And it's important for you to be informed about, your health, what's going on.
Yes.
Be a decision maker about your health,
Yeah.
and not just someone that says, okay, you got to do this. Oh, okay, I'll go do that then. Because
Exactly. You have to be
then,
proactive, not reactive. Yes.
yes, exactly. That's the reason why. And how many frequencies? I saw something where there's the AO scanner has over
Yeah.
100,000 frequencies.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes. Yes. During the voice scan and during the
Oh
vital
yeah.
scan on a
Hmm.
comprehensive scan, it's just phenomenal, phenomenal feedback.
Hmm.
During 1 hour, people feel like, my goodness, I have received more assessment than any other
Hmm.
physician or specialist in my lifetime. Because usually
Yeah.
the doctor assessment is only like 10, 15 minutes. And even if you go to hospital, it's only like half an hour.
Oh
We
yeah.
spend that whole hour with our clients, and then
Hmm.
we detect their voice and vitals and comprehensive and all through this device. And they be so amazed at the end of this. Ask
Hmm.
Donna how
Oh
amazed she
yeah.
was. And,
Well,
and, and you
the
yourself
thing
were amazed.
the thing too, I had a inflammation in my left shoulder, and I never
Yes,
mentioned that to you. And
if
you did
detected.
that scan on me, and then you says, "Hey Jim, you also
Yeah,
got a problem in your left shoulder, don't you?" I said, "Yeah, I do."
exactly. Yes, yes,
And at age 73, I mean, you can comb your hair and pull a muscle or something.
yes,
you know, I mean, because you do something, you're like, boy, I don't feel too good. Wonder what I did. And it
yes,
really felt like I'd slept on my left shoulder and kind of compressed it or something.
yes,
But
yes.
I was able to work that out, and
That's great.
it's yeah, it really is. But my point being, he did not know that, and I
Yeah,
did not mention it to him either. So
yeah,
how would that little AO scanner pick that up and say, because like I say, you either green, you're in, or red, you're out. And if you're
yes.
out, and that's what you do, just go down, look at the red, go down, look at the red
Yeah,
flags there. I call them red
exactly,
flags.
exactly, exactly. Yes.
And it's really an amazing tool. I'm still blown away by it, and I
Hmm.
know Donnie is too.
Yes, I
But
know.
my wife, you also did the AO scanner on her too, and we learned a lot about that, and we've made some corrections in our life there,
Yes, yes,
personally as well as physically, and it's really helped us. And so it's really a blessing in disguise to be able to see problem areas emotionally, see problem areas physically. We're talking about a lifestyle, folks. Your
exactly.
lifestyle.
Yes, yes,
Like I've mentioned yesterday on the show we were on,
yes,
your mind can only bring up the past.
yes,
That's it. There's no crystal ball in between our ears.
exactly.
And so whenever you think about things in your life, learn how to love yourself and forgive yourself. I made a mistake, so what? I own it and I forgive myself. But
100%, Jim. 100%
yeah.
self-love,
Hmm.
and to be loving yourself and loving other, to be kind to yourself and to be kind to others is
Hmm.
really the first step in healing.
Yeah, because you can only give something that you possess.
Exactly.
If you do not
Yes.
love yourself, how can you love someone else?
Well, yeah, exactly. It doesn't
Mhm.
happen. Exactly.
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 And that's just like a dog gives an excellent example because they give
Yes.
unconditional love and we
That's it.
automatically
That's all
love
they
it and
give.
we return
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I
Yeah.
tell you, we can learn a lot from the dogs, but like a
Yes.
lot of people, they look in that little bitty tiny rearview mirror of life
Yes.
and they let it drag them down, pollute their mind, rob them of their health and happiness, rather than look through the windshield of life and enjoy the love and abundance that you are so richly entitled to have. It belongs
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
It's not some pie in the sky or some dream. This is
Exactly.
reality. You know, you're
Correct.
just like you're entitled to sunlight, aren't you? You're entitled to oxygen. You're
Exactly.
also entitled to love and enjoy the abundance that this life has to offer.
Yes,
Because
sir.
you're that special. You're that special.
Yes. Wonderful.
And I don't think we could have closed on a more positive note than that.
Yes. You're amazing, Jim. I'm so proud of you. You are so inspiring. And keep up doing the great work that you're doing right now, my
Oh,
friend. Okay.
thank you
Yes.
very much. And people
You're
ask
welcome.
me when I'm going to retire, and I already got that figured out.
I
I'm
worked
going
till
to
the last day.
I'm going to
Last breath.
retire.
That's the last
I'm
breath.
going to retire the day before I die. If I get a chance, I'll
Exactly.
call and let you know. If not, I'll see you on the other side of the Jordan. But
Correct.
most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank Dr. George Grant for
Thank
being
you.
with us
Thank you so
again
much.
today.
Thank
And
you.
thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
please take advantage of that AO scan offer that he offered you here. And if you're not happy or disappointed with it or whatever, you know, he'll give you your money back. I mean,
Yep.
that's
No
a
problem.
100%, you know, guarantee, and you
Yep.
have nothing to lose but everything to gain.
Yeah.
And you know, like I tell people, you know, be sure and love yourself first and love
Yeah.
others. And
100%.
most importantly, forgive yourself.
Yes.
You know, that's it, critical. Forgive
Yes.
yourself and let it
Yes.
go. As Donna likes to say, if it's, you know, there's three things, one of three things. It's either a person, a place, or a thing. Whatever that person, place, or thing is, love them enough or love it enough to let it go and say, no,
Exactly. You know
you
what,
got
Jim?
the
This is
problem.
my motto in living: love, learn,
Mhm.
laugh, let go, and leave a legacy. These are
There
my
you
secrets
go.
how I live
There
every
you
day.
go.
There you go.
There you go. Well, brother, it's always good having you on the show. You know,
Great to have
people,
you, Jim. Thank
yeah,
you, sir.
every time I'm on the show with him, they say, Dr. Grant, and I don't say anything. They say, Jim, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. They probably think, how did he become a doctor? Because they get us both confused. I guess because you know, we can tell we're twins, you know,
Thank you, Jim.
at least in spirit.
Yes. Yes.
But anyway, thank you very much, ladies and
Thank
gentlemen.
you.
It's been a wonderful time. Be sure and get in touch with Dr. George Grant, the academyofwellness.com.
Mhm.
Email him,
Yeah.
Dr. Grant Wellness at
Yeah.
gmail.com. You see it there on the ticker tape.
Yeah.
And ask him any question, but make sure you go to the academyofwellness.com. Take that wellness IQ
Yeah.
and be honest with yourself.
Yes.
Because if
Yes.
you're honest with yourself, then you got a starting point to improve your life.
Exactly.
And our
Thank you.
time is gone, and you know
Yes.
we really appreciate everyone tuning in. If you've been watching us on Roku, Amazon Fire, YouTube, wherever, thank you so very, very much for tuning in, because we realize you have the power to watch any show. And we're just so thankful that we provide the type of information important enough for you to spend time with us. We appreciate you. We thank you from the bottom of our heart, and we hope you have a wonderful evening. Take care of yourself, and we hope you and your loved ones are healthy, happy, and safe. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All the best. Bye-bye.